Hello everyone. Like Alex said, my name is Hannah and I'm digital PR consultant. I worked in-house as well as in agencies, and last year I decided to go freelance. So here I am. And what I focus on is sort of creating content that it's newsworthy content and gets published in the press and receives great coverage and links. And yeah, I'd like to talk about having our ideas and how to turn our ideas into this newsworthy content. And as I mentioned, having receiving the coverage and links that we are after. So to start with, we all have a great ideas. We are marketers, of course, we are, and we do need to have such ideas. And one of the favorite places that we help us get these ideas, whether that's brainstorming with our team, or having a little corner, or being just in the bar at home, or other places. I myself get best ideas when I'm falling asleep because my brain doesn't shut off. So sort of it's just a need to make sure that it doesn't matter, where we get our brain ideas, but it's about what we do with them, and how we create what we do with our ideas and how we create a full content piece, really. And that's about it. So we need to have our ideas, the execution, and meet in the middle with the great content. What we after then is creating great coverage, links, and shares and visits or traffic, whatever is our aim, whatever is our goal, whatever the results are. It helps us get there if we match A with B. Being a bit negative, the problem is when it doesn't work out and our ideas get carried away and not delivered properly. To avoid this, it's as simple as making sure that we get involved with everyone who helps us create our content piece and campaign. And they don't think, no one sees in our head. So it's about creating brief, short brief, spending time with them, and catching up with our team while things are being posted, written, designed, just to make sure also that we're watching our ideas like content. And it's important because then if we watch them, we spot little things like, oh, we can change things here and there, and then make sure that, it's even better. Or we can stop something because it's not evolving the way that we want it to. So it's just about, rather than here as an idea, let's wait for the content, it's being just involved with everyone and making sure that you're there. If it's your idea especially, you need to look after it. Important thing is that someone else's input can make our idea much, much better. As an example, I work with this great agency, and they wanted to work on their own brand awareness, and they created a great piece. That was the draft, which was about Facebook and how much information Facebook can share about your third companies, especially when you, for example, shopping online and you clicked on something with Facebook, you're sending all your public information in your Facebook to the third companies, and they give this information that's linked back, etc. However, looking at that, this is how it looked when I logged in with my personal information. It looked great, but it wasn't shocking. It was shocking, the information that's there, but it wasn't shocking by when I looked at that. It looked like when I was highlighting something at university. So we sat down and thought about how we make it a bit more personal, a bit more people can relate to it. And that's what we did. We changed to slightly colours, so the colours became blue, to relate to Facebook, and put a bit scary picture, like someone's watching you online. So suddenly you're triggering something and you're helping the idea to become, this is newsworthy content, because then you log in. This is an example of when I logged in, and there's your profile picture, your information. Then it's now becoming scary because it looks like Facebook. It's your information for Facebook, but it's on this random website that is showing you how much Facebook is actually, how much information is giving out. So that's how you sort of want to turn your idea into newsworthy content to relate to it. To do that, you need to ask yourself 3 questions, which are very important. It sounds silly, but it's very important when you get your idea, whether you want to turn into newsworthy content to get coverage and links. You look at, do you like it? Well, it's your idea. Probably yes, you like it. then do your colleagues like it? Ask those honest ones, not your wife or husband. Just ask those honest ones that do they like your idea? And then you go further, but you don't ask your friends and partners and family because they love you. They will always say they like your idea. So don't ask them. Where you can go is the public, where they love the most. You go on, for example, Google Consumer Survey is great to ask about thoughts about your idea and content. What you do is you question I really like on Google Consumer Survey is you take a screenshot of whether that's your interactive page or visual or infographic or written content, and you ask people on internet online if would they share that with their friends. And that's the question you want to ask them. Would they share that? Is that shareable? Would they share that with their friends? If they say yes, the majority, then your idea is perfect because it's related. People can relate to that, and they would tell their friends about it. So you've got Reddit, which is a bit of forum, and it's very honest. Just be ready. If you ask on Reddit, people will come back and tell you exactly what they think. But it helps you because even negative feedback is a feedback, and you can make your idea and your content based on your idea even better. And the one that I love the most is your contacts. So great contacts in journalists. Contact them at early stages and ask them about your idea, because they can also help you shape it. They can say, oh, we've covered this before, or this is great, but maybe this thing and add this and say this. Keep what you're doing. You're talking to people at early stages, and you're talking to those people that you will be talking when selling your content in. You're basically helping yourself being a bit ahead, because once you've got in a month or 2 or 3, when you've got your content ready, you are talking to the same people as you were about a month, 3 months ago, and those that were helping you with the content, with the creation. So when I spoke to journalists about this piece, they said, oh, this needs changing, or this doesn't really work for us, or we would do that, but if you do this, and we did so, and then the coverage is here. You sort of receive, when you receive the feedback, and those people are expecting you to get in touch with your end product, and then it goes online. So what we want to do with our content, or what we want our content piece to be, is relevant, topical, and somehow related to our lives. So this is example 3. There are many more that you can look at or you can focus on, but I like these. Is it relevant to what's happening at the moment or someone? Yes. Is it topical, whether it's season or again something's happening, and is it somehow related to someone? And mainly, to a bit further, is it shocking? Is it not? You want to annoy people anyway, because you want to tell them something's out there or something's happening, and they look at it and go, well, they don't like it. You want to trigger an emotion, whether it's sad, happy, angry, annoyed, something you want to trigger emotion, and that's how people react to your content. If they react to your content like this, then it's gonna go viral, it's gonna go out there. And like I said, it's all about shareability. And my personal aim is to create a content that gets shared, that gets out there, and it's press, and it's social media. It's just I want my content to be absolutely everywhere. But so do the journalists, and very often tasked by their editors and publication owners to create content that gets shared. They need articles to be shared. At the end of the day, we both, you and journalists, we all want the same. So we've got the same objective. We want our content to be absolutely everywhere. So if we create a content that is very easy for the journalists to share with their readers, and for readers to share with their friends, and their friends to share with their friends, and on and on and on, then journalists will love you, because you're helping them, hit the target. You're helping them hit the fact that their articles are being shared. So you want to talk about your journalists and want to see what your journalists are after, but you want to know what their readers want to see and read. So not only understanding who their readers are, whether that's everyone, or female readers aged 25 to 44, or over 50s, or millennials, anyone. You just want to understand what they want to easy. And by understanding what those readers want to see, you'll understand what the journalists need, and therefore you can turn your idea into that content. It's quite, it might sound a bit mental, but it really works that way. And if you follow this, then you're making your life much easier and your content greater and greater. What we want to from our content, we want to sketch our idea. So blank paper and or a Word doc on your laptop. You've asked your questions, so you ask yourself if you like it, your colleagues, you went on Google Consumer Survey and read it, you spoke to your journalist. Now you need to just sketch on everything, your timelines, your deadline, your objectives, everything potentially you have in your head and on your idea, everything you can think of. Because then when you look at those information, you can put a structure together and start putting exactly, creating the content that you really want out of your idea. So we can write it down simply. You can use mind map. I quite like it. You can talk to your team, of course. You just find the best way to sort of put everything on that piece of paper to make sure you've got absolutely everything, all information there. No idea is too big. And once you start writing these all information and asking more questions, speaking to people and speaking to public, you realize that your idea might sound a bit too big when you start talking about it, maybe too expensive, maybe it takes too long. But when you look at that, you can always scale down and you can always scale up. You can suddenly see that it's just simple to do and it's certain procedure that you need to follow. However, sometimes we need to admit that our idea, if we don't like it, our team doesn't like it, journalists were not sure about it, and we didn't really look at readers who spoke to, went on Google Consumer Survey, it might be a bit of an emoji. But avoid that. We need to make sure that we do a bit of research before putting everything together. So like I said, you've asked your questions, you wrote everything down, you spoke to several people, but you need to find out who else had the similar idea, or hopefully not same idea, but has it been covered before? If it has been covered, when it was covered, was it 4 years ago or was it 1 week ago? It makes a difference if it's that, because if it's 4 years ago, you find you can redo it, or not redo it, but use the similar topic and go on and on and on about it, because that's a long time ago. But if it's last week, you probably want to either way or tailor your ideas slightly to make sure you're not basically repeating someone else's content or copying, which you obviously wouldn't do. But then also how it was covered. If it was covered in a way that someone just wrote a humongous article and you want to create a visual and infographic interactive piece, well, go for it, because they haven't done that. You've got a great idea, potentially similar to that, but you can make the content look much better. You're stealing as like an artist in a way, so you're just taking that as an inspiration and making it better. And also who covered it in a way, whose idea was it? So was it some company a small company that you're not competing, or was it your competitor? And what approach they took, in a way, the press. So when you look in these questions and you look in this research, again, it gives you a bigger picture of, well, the journalists sort of took this angle and this approach. Maybe that's better if we do that in our content piece. So just looking at every single thing that those journalists did to make sure that if they see your content, they've got this finished product they can just take in place. Because not calling anyone lazy, but they're under-resourced. They got so much to do. They used to write about probably 3 articles a day. Now it's 3 articles every 2 hours. So if you make their life much easier, then they obviously will take that and use their content, because you looked at their readers, you looked at what they're doing, you spoke to people about this, you spoke to them about this, you've done research, you've done everything you could to make your content really good. And now, is it interesting? The thing is, when you've got everything finished, you look at the idea, and you ask, so what? If you can answer so what, then you find, it's because of this, it does this, it will do that, it'll bring this, that's fine. But if you have your idea, you ask, so what? And you can answer, and it's time to tailor it or look at different things. And what you can do when it comes to turning your idea It's about turning into several, there's lots of types of content pieces, and this is really when it comes in the way when if you want to make viral content, then it really depends what approach you choose when you're creating that content. So for example, we've got external research. I worked with my client on a research that we were focusing on stress. So how often, that was in the UK, so how often Brits are stressed. And the objective was target UK press, no viral content, anything like that. So we've done external research on the study, collected results, and wrote lots of press releases. So it's all written content and some visuals online as a linkable asset. And it went out there, and it was great. It had some lovely UK coverage, quite a lot of pieces. But that's exactly what we wanted. We didn't want it to go mental, right? And I mean, unless you go really, some survey where it's shocking for everyone that Brits do, or in America, Australia, or anywhere in Europe. So you sort of want to. It's about your objectives. And this one was keep it in the UK, which was absolutely fine. Then you can create an infographic, which then you sort of getting into the viral sort of way. But infographic is an image, it can be shared, and if it's interesting information, then it could be shared globally. This is an example of one of my clients that we did a small micro infographic, I call it, and it was about business etiquette, but it was business etiquette abroad. As the title, it's already giving you the idea that we wanted to go sort of globally. And it got really nice coverage in America, Australia, UK, and also we targeted all this press that we spoke about, so Germany, Italy, Spain, all the countries, and make sure that the press from that certain country was contacted with this visual. Then you've got interactive content piece. Obviously, you want to make sure that your visitors or customers, clients, or readers can interact with the content, whether it's on your website or you create embed code and publications can publish that, and readers can interact with that on the certain publication they read. Same example, so interactive content, and that got great coverage globally. It went, it was Germany, Netherlands, I think Slovakia, Poland, America, Australia, just because it's not necessarily, it was quite text heavy. But everyone relates to social media, and in those countries that it got published, their citizens will have Facebook. So suddenly you're showing someone this shocking news, and that's why it's so easy to be shared, and that's why it got shared so much across press, publication, and of course social media. And then my very, very favorite is visual. So when it comes to viral content, if it's visual, it's a picture, it's a photograph, it's something, an image can say 1,000 words in several languages with no text at all. And that's when things go viral, when you create something that it's related to people, it triggers something, some emotions, it's easy to share for the journalist as well as the public, and it doesn't, it can be just image. And I created this for one of my clients, Chinese New Year last year, and it was the year of the rooster last year. So we did this puzzle, which is hidden rooster amongst of the ocean of hens. To give you a clue, the rooster is on it's left on the screen, about third, sort of from the bottom, but different hair. But it annoyed people. It annoys me because it's annoying. You're looking for something and you can't see it. And then you've got people who will comment on it and share it because A, they can't find it, or they want to show off and say they found it in 3 seconds. But it's, anyone who celebrated Chinese New Year would share that. It's sort of, it's a content that is easy to share. It's an image. It triggers certain emotions again. It was very easy to share, and it got shared in the UK, but also China Daily News, Germany, and Australia. It was absolutely everywhere, and it was great because that's what we wanted. We wanted something goes viral, and I find that when it comes to viral content, you want to use images. It's very simple, something that it's surprising, it's new, and it's easy to share. So whatever you do, you need to make sure that you're not only offering your idea as a content, but you're offering a reason to publish this as an idea. And to have a reason, for example, you've got current affairs. So I showed you an example of the stress piece where it was about people being stressed and how often a month. And it was published in January, February, so last month, and it was cold, it was snowing, schools were closed, it was short days, long nights, really cold. And people get stressed because, they need to suddenly get childcare, you can't get to work because the train's delayed or it's lots of traffic. So we talk to I talk to the press and go, like, everyone's stressed, but I know exactly how many days a month these people are stressed because we've run this research. So we sort of hooked it up with the current affairs that were going on in the news. So if you've got something going on in the press and your content piece can relate to that, then use it. Obviously, you don't want to relate on that. Like, you don't want to depend on current affairs, but you want to make sure that you can somehow relate your content to it. Then seasonal content, so whether that's Christmas or January sales, Easter, summer holidays, it's something that, again, your content can somehow help journalists to hook it up with a story. However, you should need to make sure that you only relating the seasonal, whether it's January sales or Christmas. You're not depending on it. I know you know lots of great Christmas campaigns, but if you can, for example, January sales, if you talk about travel and if you say that January is really busy for booking holiday, and then you get great coverage, and then it's February, it's done. People won't use it again. It was all about January and it was all about booking holidays that month. But if you could say that people are booking holidays on Wednesday, most likely booking holidays on Wednesday at 3 o'clock, you can send that in January and say, well, it's the most busiest month when it comes to booking a holiday. And I can tell you that people are booking holiday on Wednesday at 3 o'clock. But then once January is over, you can go on and say people are booking holidays on Wednesday at 3 o'clock. And it doesn't matter if it's February, March, April, or June. It's still related. By the way, that's not true. That was just an example. But it's just making sure that if you can relate to certain current news or a seasonal thing, then do so. But do make sure that it's not your only chance to get in the press. And then calendar event, like an example of the Chinese New Year. I do admit that the Chinese New Year was depending on this calendar event because that was one day last year, and obviously this year. But if you can, again, if your content can somehow relate to your calendar event, then do so. But don't just, it's not easy if it's depending on it. So we've got donuts here. If it's National Donuts Week or International Donuts Week, and you've got something to do with sugar, you can relate it to donuts because they're full of sugar. But then once it's over, you can sort of carry on with this content and pick different calendar events or send it again in 2-3 weeks. Just sort of reuse that your content and get it out there as much as you can, not relating on one thing. And yes, so it is about having a great idea, great content, but we need to know what to do with it. And also we need to make sure that we present it to the right people, meaning that if we've got absolutely amazing content or campaign and we create our media list and we don't know really the people, we're sort of guessing depending on whether that's a database or who we saw online publishing similar content. If you send it to the wrong people, as much as they're from the right publication and if you contacted them correctly, then they won't publish them because they're not interested because it's not their field. So what you want is making sure that you know these people. So looking at exactly what they covered, when they covered that, because journalists do change roles and areas all the time. Then you look at a Twitter page or LinkedIn, just making sure that you understand exactly what they're after and you send it at the right time. Really nice example that I use quite often is sending Christmas campaign out on the 22nd of December. So that wouldn't work because that's too late. So you don't wanna send it too early, you don't wanna send it too late, but it's quite difficult then to find out when to send it. What I usually do is whenever that seasonal calendar event, or just I don't know, things like who's talking about anything that year. So we're gonna have Easter very soon. So you look at, you don't know, if it's too late, is it too early these days? Sort of looking at it. Go online and look at publications that covered Easter, whether that's products in the shops or campaigns last year. And that gives you a great idea of when to send that content. So you just look at the publication and look at Easter 2017 and when they started publishing certain things about Easter, and then sort of progs when it's going to happen this year, and that's going to give you that idea, and it's going to make your life much easier. And using the right channels. So when it comes to contacting journalists, of course, you can call them, you can email them, but there are many more channels at the moment or now today. But the thing is that it's not necessarily a good or bad thing. I think it's a very good thing. It's social media. So for example, Twitter, journalists use hashtags to get help from public and PRs, which is hashtag journal request. Where you can track them and see what they're after and try to send them your content to see if you can help. But also, you've got now, is it 180 characters to have your elevator pitch and to actually tweet them. Lots of journalists have a bio, when they've got a bio on the page, they do say, tweet with your story, or tweet with your idea, tweet with your news. So tweet them, because if they say so, then there might be the perfect channel for them to be in touch with people and PRs or outreach or marketers, And with Facebook, obviously, you want to use Facebook, it's great. Don't send friend requests to a journalist that you know, but it's about Facebook groups. Journalists, they've got Facebook groups, at least some of them that I know, and in their Facebook groups, they come morning every 3 days every week. They list the stories that they're working on and ask specifically PRs or outreach people, again marketers, if they can help. If you can see that it's article related to your content or your idea, then contact them. But you can, and it's not blank email. It's sort of they ask you to contact them if it's relevant to their article through that Facebook group or LinkedIn. As much as it might be a bit of surprise, but especially if international, contacting national journalists, when you sometimes can't find the email address or contact details. Look at if they're in LinkedIn, connect with them and message them. It's nothing wrong with that. Thing is, obviously, you don't want to overcall. You don't want to call them, email them, tweet them, Facebook group message, or comment and LinkedIn message. You want to make sure that you find the right channel to contact your journalists, and they tell you what they prefer. Journalists that say they prefer, if you call them at 1 o'clock on a Thursday every week with stories, or they'll say don't call at all, just only email, or they actually want you to tweet. Like I said, it might be just on the Twitter, please tweet with a story, or they request that you join that Facebook group and watch for stories, so you don't contact them at all unless it's related. And then, like I say, with international, especially if it comes that you can't find the email address, just contact them or back on Twitter. I think that's all. Yeah, thank you very much. I hope this was helpful. If you've got any questions at all, please feel free to tweet me. The handle is at miss_Hannah B, or email, which is hannah.freelancevia@gmail.com. Any questions at all?